It's the midweek edition of the show live here on Joy Sports and Multi TV. My name is Kwame, Dwomoh, and coming up on the show this morning, we're going to be bringing you an exclusive interview we've had with the GFA Communications Director concerning the latest developments with the Ghana Football Association and of course, Ghana's impending crucial World Cup qualifier against Zambia. A lot of preparations are being made in that regard, and we'll be bringing to you that interview we had. And of course, it's preseason time, and quite a number of Ghanaian players are in the news. Are they going to be switching clubs, or are they going to be staying with their clubs? We'll bring you the latest on quite a number of Ghanaian players and what they've been up to in recent times. And of course, the hockey team, the female national under-21 team. We're back from the break, and as usual, we start with the sport and tabloids. This morning, I have the graphic sports and the 90 minutes. Well, we begin with the graphic sports, and on the front page of the paper, you have a Razak back on the block. And of course, it has to do with the managerial position of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, who is going to be the manager in charge of the club for season 2013, season 2014. Well, it's only a matter of time before we get to know who ends up getting the job. Nyantechi Blast, ex-Kotoko CEO, will be bringing in an interview we had with the former international relations director on some of these happenings in the club. And Wayne Rooney, we are made to understand that Chelsea would make a £30 million bid for Rooney. Is that going to be enough to get the man to London? Time will tell. All that and more on the front page of the Graphic Sports newspaper. We'll make our way to the lifestyle page of the paper. And as usual, one of these players or one of these sportsmen. And then this morning, we're looking at Fred. Fred was a key player for the Brazilian team at the just ended Confederations Cup. He's seen here together with his family having a good time. He plays in Brazil these days, formerly of Olympique Lyonnais in France. He said he was homesick and returned to play in the Brazilian Championship. There is he. We're moving on to the center spread of the Graphic Sports, and you would bet that the Graphic Sports has pictures from all the European clubs' pre-season games. Quite a number of pictures in here. If you're a fan of any of these clubs, I'm sure you have been following their fortunes. We'll be bringing you highlights and previews of some of the matches that are going to be played later this week. Quite a number of teams seen here in action. We move on to the back page of the Graphic Sports. And on the back page, you have Razak back on the block with a huge question mark. Is the Golden Boy going to be made manager of the club in no time? We understand that coach Masudi Dramani is going to be in England for some training lessons with Man City, and GFA boss Blast S. Kotoko CEO. What's the story in there? We'll be telling you about all that and more. So that's it for the Graphic Sports. Make your way to the newsstands and get to grab a copy of this paper and, of course, read a lot more on these stories. And then to a final paper, we have the 90 minutes, and you'd bet the 90 minutes with all of the pictures of our players who almost always make the news. Lionel Messi is there, Kujua Samoa, Sule Ali, Muntari. They are all there on the front page of the paper, and you'd always see someone connected to the IU family as far as the 90 minutes is concerned. Mario Balotelli is there as well, Robin Van Persie and Wayne Rooney. That story about Wayne Rooney is definitely not going to be going away. Is he going to be staying with the Reds, or would he move to Chelsea? That's it on the front page of the 90 minutes. On the back page of the paper, I just hope you're going to be able to identify the man you're seeing in there. They call him the real Ronaldo. Luis Nazario da Lima, one of the finest strikers I have seen in my life. He's seen here together with a beautiful lady. Who exactly is she? A great, fantastic career he had as a footballer, blighted by injuries. The Ronaldo Luis Nazario da Lima on the back page of the 90 minutes. So that's it for our newspaper segment this morning. Make your way to the newsstands and get to grab some of these papers and read a lot more on the stories that are trending in here. But we begin this morning's show with the Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Ibrahim Sani Dara. We caught up with him concerning quite a number of issues that are pertaining with the Ghana Football Association and, of course, the senior national team of the Black Stars. Well, yours truly caught up with the FA Communications Director, and he's been saying a lot concerning these issues.
The fact is that the Confederation of African Football has written to us to confirm that we've now been rated, amongst the countries who deserve to have 4 slots. That is 2 for the Champions League and 2 for the Confederation Cup. Yes, it's true.
Based on what?
Well, based on the performances of the Ghanaian teams in the competition, I think, over the past 2 or 3 years. And also the fact also that if you are in a pool, there are also others who are also competing. Probably it might be that the performance of Brekum Chelsea in the competition last year has massively boosted our place, and also maybe the non-performance of some other teams who were previously ranked among the top teams.
It's not like Chelsea, blew the wind out of everybody's sail. They may have done very well, but their performance, people say, was a one-off. It was their first time, and that was it. Before that, it wasn't like Ghanaian clubs were performing extraordinary in the competition.
No, the fact that they were able to get into the last 8 tells you that they are among the best 8 clubs in Africa. And that is no mean achievement, to be ranked among the last 8. And even within the group stages of the competition, you could see that if they had pushed a little bit harder, they could have reached the semi-final of the competition. So that shows that they are really up to it. It was not just a one-off. It was not a fluke. It was a performance, and you realize that in the aftermath of that, lots of their players were poached by other clubs from the continent. That tells you that they really did really well. And subsequently also, you look at a point where a club like Asante Kotoko, even though they were eliminated, they did well. They did not disgrace the country. Previously, you have a team go in the first stage of the competition, they are knocked out. Also, a team would actually not even turn up at all for a competition. You remember Brekum Arsenal's part of Lions and King Faisal. All of them suffered similar fates. They could not afford to be able to participate in the competition, and that had a very bad effect on us. Some countries in Africa have had similar effects, but we are thankful that over the past 2 years or so, the clubs that have gone on have been able to foot their bills and also to represent the country well.
Your boss and in effect the FA is pushing very hard for the club license and system. The coaches, as we speak, are training very hard to earn these honors to be coaching clubs. Do you think that alone is enough to churn out the kind of talent that a nation like Ghana would want to be seen playing at all levels?
Yes, I think that if we are to compare ourselves to the German model, I think 12 years ago, where they did not do well at the World Cup, they asked that, what has gone wrong with our system? And they examined that they were not producing enough football talent from their academies. And they made it a point that every football club in the country playing in the first and second tier of the Bundesliga must, have an academy that is fully staffed, that can play in the youth leagues. So it's a similar thing that we want to do, and it is in the criteria for the club licensing system, that all the clubs must have youth teams, and this time actually we'll be looking at even lowering the age bracket from under 20 to even maybe under 18 under the club licensing system. So the thought is that we'll encourage all the clubs in the Premier League to have youth teams that are under 18, so that talents not only would be produced just for the first team, but also from the junior team, so there can be a constant stream of talent from the youth sides. And the key thing is that it will not just be staffed previously where we had, people who just got basic interest in football just coaching the teams. No. These times, in this modern era, we'll be insisting that those who coach the youngsters in the youth teams of the squads must have some qualification of a sort. The FA has got lots of licenses, and these are some of the things that they must have before they will be able to coach, to ensure that when they are training the kids, they will train them in the right method so we can have talent. So we will not be worried that if the exodus is coming, it will not badly hit our league, in that constantly we'll have a constant stream of talent coming through. Create opportunities for the youngsters, and also create a lot of talent for our under 17 and under 20, as well as the under 23 national teams.
Talking about creating the talents and having an abundance of players coming through the ranks, under 20 team was in Turkey. They made us very proud, but sadly again hearing a word that some monies are still owed them. Is that the case? And if that is the case, is there anything being done to make sure that those debts are settled ASAP?
Yes, there are some outstanding debts, and for sure, these debts will not remain or will not perpetuate. It is only the system that we go through in securing money to pay our national heroes that is long and drawn out. It is not only it does not only pertain to football. It is the entire facet of the system in Ghana for paying people from government coffers. If you look at it, let's say contractors, some of them complain that we've not had our monies for 6 months. The same thing. When we prepare our budgets, we send it to the ministry. The ministry's chief director would have to scrutinize it. After scrutinizing it, he will give it to the minister. He will also scrutinize it, send it to the chief of staff. He will scrutinize it. If there's a need to be sent to cabinet, which will also be scrutinized there. Before, if it is approved, would be sent to the Accountants General's department. It will also go through a process before it will go to the Bank of Ghana to make the payment. So it is not a stroll in the park. It's a long process. But the players are assured that even when the monies are late, they will be paid. They will be assured by that fact. When we went to the African Championship some few months back, we had similar problems. But in the long run, they were paid. They will be paid, even though it's not been done as at now, they will be paid.
And do you have any idea what these figures are?
No, I don't have my fingers on the pulse as far as what the figures are. But the key thing is that they will be paid.
A lot is also happening with regards to the coaching direction of some of our teams. We're hearing that Maxwell Kunedu has been or is on the verge of being made the local Black Stars coach. Coach Evans Adute is also said to be on the books of the Black Medians. What exactly is happening there?
Yeah, for Maxwell it is confirmed. The reason being that we want to free Coach Kwesi Appiah to do a lot of the Black Stars work. They'll be able to juggle the jobs between them, because a lot of the monitoring for Maxwell will be on the local front. Maxwell will spend a lot of time on the local front, looking at the local league. That is not to say that Coach Kwesi Appiah won't be monitoring the local league. He will, but they will have shared responsibilities. On some occasions where somebody has to travel to go and see our players abroad, it will be Coach Kwesi Appiah who will go on that score. So it only makes sense that if the coach is spending his time both at home and abroad, and if Maxwell is solely spending his time at home, he must as well concentrate on the local Black Stars, whilst Coach Kwesi Appiah looks at the Black Star itself. That does not also mean that Maxwell will not do his job as the assistant of the Black Stars coach. So they will be comparing notes. It's something like, even maybe you say it's a status quo, just that Maxwell will be more focused on the local Black Stars. The reason being that we want people to have the freedoms to be able to take decisions and to be able to take responsibility. So if you have a coach doing two jobs, especially with the World Cup approaching. We don't want to have any divided attention for our coach at all. So we want Maxwell to concentrate on the local Black Stars whilst he assists Kwesi Appiah. And then Maxwell will be assisted by Coach Dauda Luttrot, whilst Kwesi Appiah, will take his time to look at the Black Stars itself.
And what about Coach Adote and the Maidens?
Yes, Adote has not been fully confirmed yet. He has not received his letter, but he's in charge of the team as we speak now.
He started the job without being given an official contract?
Well, because we have to clear our desks. Some people have left the position. We also have to look at options available. We have to look at options available, because there are some coaches who we probably would have thought that have left the scene. They might be available. So we need to speak with all of those people before we make firm decisions on all. I'm not specifically talking about Coach Adote, but I'm talking about all the national teams that, would obviously have some changes, given some coaches departing and all.
Well, that was the Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Mr. Ibrahim Sani Dara, speaking on the myriad of issues concerning football in Ghana. And, of course, for a lot of people out there, the focus had to do with the clubs that are going to be standing the chance of competing in the CAF Continental Club competitions, and whether we're able to hang on to most of the managers of the various national team coaches. And Salah Stete going to be staying for the national under-20 job, and if he's going to be staying, is he going to be paid the amount of money that he might require before he signs that contract? Well, we would love to see whether these coaches are retaining their positions or otherwise. But we move on now and focus on Ghanaian players and what's been happening to them as far as preseason is concerned. A number of other clubs have resumed preseason training, but we're still not too certain whether players who will be making the transition from one club to the other or whether they'll be staying with their clubs. Let's begin, though, from Italy now and look at Sule Ali Muntari and Kevin Prince Boateng. Well, from what we gather, these two players are going to be staying with their clubs. Now, Ghanaian duo Sule Muntari and Kevin Prince Boateng have kept their squad numbers after AC Milan confirmed the numbers for season 2013-2014. Now, midfielder Boateng, linked with a move away from the club thus that transfer window, would wear the iconic number 10 shirt. Now, he inherited it from Dutchman Clarence Seedorf, who left the club 2 seasons ago. Now, Muntari will continue to wear the number 4 jersey he took from Mark van Bommel, who has since retired. Now, the 28-year-old made 15 Serie A appearances and scored 1 goal last season after missing the first 4 months of the season through injury. So, good news for the two Ghanaian players. Hopefully, Ghana can fall on them in that crucial game against Zambia later this year. And we're still staying in, in the Italian Serie A. And Serie A side Fiorentina are likely to farm out Ghana youth midfielder Amidou Salifu to second-tier side of Varese. Now, Sky Sports 24 claim the player would meet the Serie B club on Tuesday to finalize his move to the Stadio Franco Ossola. Now, the 20-year-old does not fit into the plans of La Viola head coach Vincenzo Montella and must look elsewhere for more playing time. Salifu has had a season-long spell last term at Catania, where he made 10 appearances in the Italian Serie A. From Italy, we move over to France now, and we're talking about Rabi Mohamed, who has almost become a mainstay in the Black Stars team in recent times. Now, Fulham have intensified their pursuit of Evian midfielder Rabi Mohamed. Now, the English outfit wants to gazump Benfica's efforts at landing the Ghana international by moving a step closer to his signature. Now, Martin Yole has money at his disposal after Shahid Khan took charge of the West London club and is keen to strengthen his squad during the summer. The 23-year-old declaration that he would favour a move to England has put Fulham in good position to lure him to Goodison Park. The Ghana Under-20 World Cup winner shot into prominence again after impressing in Ghana colours at the 2013 African Cup of Nations in South Africa. He has since gone ahead to command a starting berth in the Black Stars team. From one Evian player, we move on to another Evian player, and this time around we're looking at Jonathan Mensah. But before we look at Jonathan Mensah, though, let's look at John Mensah, who also plays his football in France. John Mensah was the former skipper of the senior national team, the Black Stars. Now, John Mensah could be searching for a new club after Stade Rennais took steps to look for his replacement. French newspaper L'Equipe has reported. Now, manager of the French side, Philippe Montagnier, is preparing to bid for Sevilla's for Real Betis' strong centre-back Damien Peggy. Now, the arrival of the former Troy and Sanetian defender would pave the way for the Ghana international to exit the club. Mensah, 30, joined the Red and Blacks in January in a move to revive his injury-blighted career. The injury-prone defender failed to command a regular spot in the team and could be back hunting for a new club in the coming weeks. The ex-Ghana skipper has not been included in the squad for the season. Hopefully, he should get a club pretty shortly. We're still staying in France and looking at another Ghanaian player. That's Jonathan Mensah. Now, what's the latest on the player? Now, Ghana defender Jonathan Mensah would launch a foundation to support the needy in his native country. The foundation, with its name Jomen, aims to provide logistical support and fund activities for orphanages in the West African country. Now, the 23-year-old wants to give back to society and will therefore make donations to orphanages in the country. Good stuff, if you ask me. From Jonathan Mensah, we move on to a player who has maybe been forgotten in recent times, and we're talking about no other person than Quincy Owusu-Abeye. And what's happening with the career of this player. Now, newly promoted English Premier League side Crystal Palace has emerged as the front runners to sign Ghanaian winger Quincy Owusu-Abeye. Abeye, 27, and the former Rapid Vienna striker Atede Nihu were in fantastic form for Palace in their 2-1 friendly win over Dagenham on Saturday, and coach Ian Holloway seems ready to offer them a deal. Now, the former Ajax Amsterdam player has never been a settled player, which has seen him play for clubs such as Malaga, Al Sadd, Celta Vigo, Spartak Moscow, Cardiff City, Birmingham, and others. Hopefully, he would get to stay with Crystal Palace this time around. We're still staying in England, and one player who has been able to break into the fold of the senior national team, Emmanuel Frimpong, has begun pre-season training with English Premier League side Arsenal. Now, the midfielder was sidelined for 2 months after undergoing a knee operation. Frimpong, 21, sustained the injury while playing for Fulham on loan in their 3-0 win at Swansea in May. Frimpong made just 2 appearances for Arsenal last season before being loaned out to Fulham. From England, we move over to Portugal and into the camp of Vitória Guimarães. And the mention of Vitória Guimarães, you know who we are talking about. We're talking about David Addy, and the club are struggling to hold on to the player because the young man is refusing to extend his contract. Now, Addy, 23, has emerged as a target for Russian giants CSKA Moscow and German outfit Eintracht Frankfurt. The Portuguese outfit met the player's rep on Monday, all in a bid to agree new terms as his contract runs out next year. Guimarães want to tie the Ghanaian international to another long-term deal as interest from clubs from Russia and Germany intensifies. The left-back has impressed heavily since joining the side in 2012, but has been surprisingly overlooked by the Black Stars. Well, maybe he needs to do just a little bit more to catch the eyes of the national team selectors. And one player who got a call-up in our last double-header against Lesotho and Sudan but failed to make it, Edwin Jima, is also in the news. Now, word from Turkey is that he's being courted by Gaziantepspor, who have tabled up to $400,000 to sign the player from his South African club, Super Sport United. Now, Gaziantepspor have already tabled an offer to Super Sport for Jima via his handlers at Pro Sport International. The Ghanaian international was a player of the season at Super Sport last season. Would he make that transition from the South African Premier League to Turkey? Again, we'd have to wait to see till August the 31st when the transfer window will be over to tell whether players would make the transition from one club to the other. From Jima, we move on to Frank Champong. Now, Frank Champong was in stunning form for the national under-20 team, the Black Satellites, as we placed third in Turkey. Now, the Ghanaian under-20 winger Frank Champong has won his second trophy since joining Anderlecht after winning the Belgium Super Cup with the club over the weekend. Now, the 19-year-old Black Satellites player, however, was not involved in action, but he managed to break into the 80-man squad for the game and sat on the bench. But he'll be delighted that his team were able to get a result over Racing Genk, which incidentally has Bernardi Akumaji playing for them as well. So a champion winning yet another trophy in his very short professional career. From Frank Champon, we move on to a player who may have been missing in action on the radar of a lot of people. Gideon Ba used to play for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. He now finds himself playing in the Finnish top flight for FC Honka. Now, Finnish top flight side FC Honka wants to sign left-back Gideon Ba permanently from Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Ba, who has a year left on his contract with the Porcupine Warriors, moved to FC Honka on loan in April this year and has scored once in 18 league appearances and is currently the club's first choice left-back. Ba's loan spell officially ends in October, but FC Honka, currently topping the standings in the Finnish league, wants him to stay at the club and would soon open talks with Asante Kotoko. Ba is also attracting interest from Polish side Lech Poznan after the former Sporting Miran captain shown in the club's 1-3 defeat to the Polish club in the Europa League match on Thursday. From Gideon Ba, we move on to John Paintel. Well, he's had a very troubled year, if you ask me, but things seem to be moving on very well for the player at this moment. And the player claims that he's received a lot of offers and will be deciding on which club he gets to play in no time. Now, Ghanaian defender John Paintel has revealed that there are several offers on the table after a deal with championship side Millwall fell through. Now, the former West Ham guardsman, together with ex-QPR winger Cook and midfielder Croft, featured for Millwall in their recent pre-season friendlies, hoping to land a deal. Now, Millwall's boss Steve Lomas has decided to look elsewhere for new players after he was undecided on the trial lists. It looks like some of these lads would have to do a lot more to get the attention of, some of these foreign clubs if they want to be playing professional football in Europe come season 2013, season 2014. We'll look at another player who impressed when given his opportunity in Turkey 2013, and that was Michael Anaba. Now, the player's proposed move to Elche FC could be affected by the current managerial crisis in Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Now, the 19-year-old has been tracked by the Spanish second-tier side since 2012 and have indicated their desire to land the man. However, recent happenings at Kotoko has led to the resignation of Executive Board Chairman Dr. Desmond Sapong, could throw the move into doubt. Now, Kotoko fans are angry with the club's mass transfer policy, with a sect pleading with the club's life patron to sack the Executive Board Chairman. Well, he has since tendered in his resignation, and it remains to be seen whether that is going to be accepted or otherwise. And talking of all this impasse surrounding Kumasi Asante Kotoko, FA President Kwesi Nyantichi has been responding to some of the comments from the camp of the Porcupine Warriors, and that has to do with certain players who were transferred, but their contract fees were understated more or less, and the FA President Kwesi Nyantichi is clearly not enthused by these developments. For him, these developments are illegal, and these developments are not good as far as pro football is concerned. Now, FA boss Kwesi Nyantichi has clashed with the country's biggest club, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, describing their recent cooperation agreements with other clubs as illegal. Now, the GFA boss is fuming over allegations he contributed to the exit of Kotoko chairman Dr. KK Sapom by using his close ties with club owner Otumfuo Osei Tutuna. The issues clearly have to do with the figures involving Ben Champon's transfer fee of 250,000, the extra 100,000 going into some kind of partnership between the two clubs. That's the FA president is saying at this point that is illegal, as it would, lead to all kinds of issues in the near future between the two clubs. And if they happen to meet in continental football, for example, these games might just be compromised. We're still staying in Ghana, and this time around we are focusing on the GFA's plans to make sure the clubs in the Global Premier League are managed by licensed A club coaches. Well, from next season, word from the Ghana FA is that managers who would want to be handling clubs in the Global Premier League would have to secure the CAF coaching license A. Now, according to sources, FA President Kwesi Nyantakyi told coaches participating in the second phase of the ongoing CAF license A course in Pram that no Premier League club would be allowed to have a coach on its bench who does not possess the CAF license A qualification. It's as simple as that. If you want to be a manager in the Global Premier League, you need to make sure that you have the license before you qualify to handle a club in here. From the licensing, we move on to the Global Premier League proper, and there is word that the Premier League season is scheduled to start on September the 15th, 2013. Now, this date, which would soon be made public, was ratified by the Executive Committee of the Ghana Football Association a few days ago. Now, the date was, however, changed to September the 15th from the original date of September the 7th due to the fact that the Ghana Black Stars would face Zambia in a crucial 2014 World Cup qualifier in Kumasi on September the 7th. Now, the Premier League board would also endeavour to finish the first round of the Premier League in mid-December in order to allow the local Black Stars to prepare adequately for the 2014 African Nations Championships, or the CHAN, in South Africa in January 2014. From the Global Premier League, and this time around we're looking at the national team boss, Coach Akwesi Appiah. And what's the story on Coach Akwesi Appiah? Well, word is that the local clubs have decided to support the manager. The local coaches, have decided to support the manager as far as the national team duties are concerned. Now, Appiah, who is also attending the course together with assistant coach Maxwell Konedu, has been able to engage the other coaches in fruitful discussions regarding the way forward for the Black Stars, and he's not been afraid to solicit for opinions from other coaches. Now, the course is also being attended by most Premier League coaches, including David Duncan of Accra Hearts of Oak, Masood Didi Dramani of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Herbert Ado and Ashcold's Bashir Hayford, amongst others. Now, talking of Coach Masood Didi Dramani, he is scheduled to leave the shores of this country for England later this week on a month-long refresher course at Man City. Now, Dramani, who is also set to finalize his exit from Kumasi Asante Kotoko, would use a 4-week period to understudy new City boss Manuel Pellegrini. Now, the former Ghana under-17 female team coach wants to improve his knowledge of the game and also use the break to clear his mind following a turbulent debut season at Kotoko. Dramani never won over the Kotoko fans, despite guiding them to retain the Premier League crown this term. From Kotoko, we move to the camp of Accra Hearts of Oak. And Accra Hearts of Oak do have a new managing director in Neil Armstrong Motabi. Now, Neil is saying that he intends to revive the club's youth side. Now, the 2000 African champions had a lot of promising players coming through its junior ranks in the past. In recent past, striker Ishmael Ado was promoted from Araras and won the Ghana Premier League Top Scorer Award on 3 consecutive occasions. Ghana legend Mohamed Polo, the late Chamukwe, and Abladi Kuma all came through its stables. Well, the club cannot continue to spend millions and millions on players when they have a nursery in place that could churn out talents over the years. We're still staying on local scene, and Medeama Sporting Club have gone on a trophy tour of a sort because the club have presented the FA Cup they won to the sponsors, that are Goldfields at Takwa. And, well, for Medeama Sporting Club, the first ever silverware in the history, it's only fair that the club sponsors get to have a feel of this trophy. And hopefully, Medeama would go on to win a lot more trophies. We're still staying in Ghana, and like I promised you earlier on, there have been so many issues surrounding Kumasi Asante Kotoko Football Club, issues that are still pretty unclear at this point. But we were fortunate to catch up with the former international relations director of the club, Kwame Nyaku, and he has been telling us a lot more about some of these issues. Confirm at this point whether your boss, Dr. Keke Sapon, is no longer the executive board chair of Kotoko or otherwise.
Well, he has informed me that he's gone through the process of informing Mensha that he's no longer keen with being the executive chairman of the club. That's between him and Mensha. But at least I'm aware that he's informed Mensha.
Doctor was appointed by Nana, so that if Doctor is no longer interested in the job, he has to do the official thing, sending a letter and all that. Has he done that?
Well, I'm aware that a letter has been delivered to Mensha today.
As we speak?
As we speak, yeah.
Nana has a right to accept or reject the resignation letter.
Well, I think Nana has every right to determine what he decides in this particular matter. I don't know what he's going to do.
Kwame, I want to believe you were at the meeting with Nana last week. What exactly happened there?
Well, basically, Kotoko was there to present the trophies that were won during the course of the year to Nana, and thank him for the honor done everybody, because being given the opportunity to serve Kotoko in itself is an honor. And so that is exactly what Dr. Sapon led his board management and the players and the technical teams to do. And then provided advice as to the way forward. He has a feeling that he's done 3 years, and some successes have been achieved, some failures have come his way. Looking at the politics and the intricacies of the game, the fact that he is the board chairman of 3 financial institutions, he thinks that the controversies, which, as far as he's concerned, have been orchestrated by people who should have known, is not something he wants to be associated with. He's the board chairman of Royal Bank. He's the board chairman of Renaissance Insurance, a new insurance company which is coming in. He also is the board chairman of Finatech. And in all these cases, it requires people with high levels of integrity. And so he wouldn't want to be associated with an organization which is always embroiled in controversy and especially with finances. And so he's requested that auditors audit their account because for him, if it was any major economy and Royal Bank was listed on the stock market, these controversies at Kotoko could have dropped the share price of Royal Bank to 0 or 1, whatever the lowest level, just because the board chairman of that company is embroiled in a financial, and he doesn't want to take the bank and the other organizations that he leads through that kind of, people damaging your integrity, probably just because somebody is looking for a position within the club. So the board is still there. I'm sure somebody will just step in. I don't think it's a major crisis. What has happened is one person feeling that he's had enough of the...
One powerful person.
One powerful person, but I think the other people are also competent enough. And he has Kotoko at heart. And he thinks that if most people believe that, like what we are being made to believe, the majority of the people would think that he's not good for Kotoko, then the best thing will be to step aside. I think that culture of resignation needs to be applauded rather than, because for me, even in our body politic, if people raise up their arms and are able to, let's say that I don't think I've done anything wrong. But if this is what will salvage the image of the organization, I'm prepared to resign. It's a culture that I think we need to be applauding rather than condemning, because it will serve as an example to everybody that whilst you're there, you need to make sure that everything is organized well so that these controversies do not generate. But once they are generated, to salvage the image of the organization, maybe you need to step aside and let somebody else do that. And for me, that was an honorable thing he did. Try to explain the finances to them. And people still decide that they will pretend as if he's never mentioned the finances to them. What else could he have done? In any case, the financial statement of any corporate organization, remember, Kotoko is not just a football club. It's a corporate organization registered as a limited liability company, which is required by the FA anyway. All the 16 Premier League clubs are supposed to be registered as a limited liability company. And so we go under the company's code. We are supposed to submit our annual audited accounts to the Registrar General and, of course, to the shareholders. People need to appreciate that accounts of a club are not done midstream. They are done on an annual basis. At the end of the year, you call in the auditors, they come and audit the accounts. And who do you submit the accounts to? The shareholders. In this case, how many shareholders does Kotoko have? Only one. That's Nana. So once the accounts are audited, who do you take the accounts to first? Is it the supporters or to Nana? It's to Nana. So this hula baloo about he has not been clear on the finances of the club, where does it come from?
What they say is that some figures, especially with regards to transfer of players, for example, have been under-declared, and these funds, as we speak, may have found its way to other sources or pockets, if you like.
And I'm saying that under-declared by who? What document? In terms of who went and saw that Kotoa had signed an agreement to sell a player for 500,000 and came and declared 100,000.
Well, they may have seen something that I may not have seen.
I'm saying that it is not true.
So you had a former International Relations Director of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Kwame Nyako, clarifying some of these issues. Well, the issues are unfolding, and as and when new developments come up, we'll definitely keep you posted on that. Away from football, we look at our corporate games coming up, being organized by the National Sports Authority. We caught up with the Medical Director of the National Sports Authority, Dr. Pambo, on the plans and preparations for this event.
Workouts. It's something that is aimed at just encouraging people to stay more physically active, and then also to take the opportunity to educate people more on the benefits of exercise. And basically, that's the whole idea.
And what are the numbers that we are looking at for Saturday?
Numbers, I think the invitation is gone out there to quite a number of corporate bodies, and we are not looking at anything less than 200. And of course, knowing the benefits of exercise, and which I believe everybody knows, but we believe people in the corporate world do not make time to exercise. So we believe giving them this platform to come and then exercise and at the same time get educated on some of the benefits would just be a wonderful idea.
And if I may ask, why is the Sports Authority spearheading a project of this magnitude?
Of course, it's actually a collaborative effort. I keep saying that in years past, the issues of non-communicable diseases used not to be a problem in our country. When I say non-communicable diseases, I refer to hypertension, various heart diseases, diabetes, obesity. We used not to have a problem with these conditions as a country. It was all about malnutrition, kwashiorkor, malaria, and all that. But now we realize that most Ghanaians are dying as a result of heart attacks. People are dying as a result of complications of diabetes, which are all lifestyle-related disease conditions. And it's believed that the Ministry of Health alone cannot fight this menace. So the Sports Authority, which is actually a body that takes into consideration exercises and physical activity needs to come on board, give this platform for people to exercise, and then it will lead to prevention of some of these disease conditions.
Is it a case of people not taking, time to reflect on exercising as a very good tool? That is why you think that an event of this magnitude might just do the trick?
Yes, I mean, obviously. And most Ghanaians would tell you they probably don't find the time. Others haven't also taken the pain to research to really know the importance of exercising. And the problem is you need to be exercising to know the benefit you get, I mean, as an individual. If you don't do it and somebody comes to even make a presentation, you will not believe it. If I tell you what you can gain by exercising, you will not believe it until you start doing it. So we have decided that, okay, why don't we stop going to classroom, teaching people, going to offices, doing wonderful presentations? Let's get them to the pitch, give them the platform, put them through it. Hopefully, of course, quite a number of them might fall out. People will not continue, but we believe as we keep doing it, people will develop the habits of doing it. And once you begin to feel the benefits of it, I mean, in your own body, I'm not sure you need any push to do it. You continue doing it.
And if I may ask, are there any particularly designed drills that you're going to be taking the participants through on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we have well-qualified instructors who would be leading all the sessions. They know the category of people who are coming. These are people who probably have not been exercising. So, yes, I know they would start it slowly with them. There are basic drills they will take them through, and then we'll graduate from there.
And what kind of support are you getting from the corporate bodies and the other bodies out there that would want to support the event on Saturday?
I'm sure because it's the first of its kind, most of these corporate bodies would be here to observe and then to see how things turn out. I'm sure subsequent ones, they need their support will come.
That was our Dr. Prince Pambo, who is the medical director of the National Sports Authority. Come this Saturday, they will be holding a corporate fitness game. I'm sure you'd want to pass there and shed some weight. From that, we move on to hockey. And, exactly a year ago today, former President Professor John Evans Atta-Mills passed on to glory. He was a proud member of the hockey fraternity, and may his soul rest in peace at this point. But the Hockey Association would want to relive the memories of President John Evans Atta-Mills, and they have launched an event in memory of this great man. Our cameras were there, and we bring you the pictures.
Look at the composition of the both the male and female teams. You realize that all and sundry have come from outside of Accra, and the idea, therefore, is that if you can construct more pitches outside of Accra, because the talents are everywhere, they are not limited to Accra only. We are more likely to bring competition into the game and bring people from other regions as well. So, for us as an association, our prayer and desire is that government should focus more on developing the infrastructure, because there's nothing better than giving that to us, and we've had one, and we are making good use of it. So the more we have, the more, in terms of number and quality, you will see. And we cannot, therefore, go without making reference to the man who was the brain behind giving this to us at all.
And then to add to it, it has enhanced the regional hockey association's game. If you come here on Saturdays, it is very vibrant. You see clubs playing from morning to evening. And the game has seriously improved technical-wise. The technical men too have developed a high standard of teaching the game of hockey. And we are now also moving to the schools. We entice the press and encourage the press to help us to get more sponsorship through your medium. Others will hear of us, and then they will come on board. In fact, when you talk to sponsors and they see this edifice, then they are encouraged to come. Unlike when we had the old edifice,
when you come here, there was nothing to write home about. But this edifice, people come here, they haven't seen it before. And the Minister for Youth and Sports was here last Wednesday to visit the under-21 team. When he came and we took him around, he was shocked about what we have here. To the extent that he says now his press conferences, he will be using this auditorium for it. And it's a plus to hockey. And we want people to come and be on board, especially corporate Ghana, for them to help develop the game hockey.
Yes, the team is, as you see, the girls are ready. We are supposed to travel with Emirates tonight. In fact, this afternoon is about 5 o'clock. The flight is at about 5 o'clock. Now, as of now, we haven't received any money at all because we need to get some money for feeding and accommodation, at least for the team. In total, we'll require about $83,000. Last Wednesday, the minister was here and he promised us that definitely we'll get the money before we leave. So we are hoping that we'll get the money. From here, I'll be going back to the ministry to follow up and see whether the money will be available. If we don't get it, then we don't have any option but to withdraw. And there are consequences, of course, for such withdrawals. It's not an option, in fact. I am sure only because the Honourable Minister himself was here last Wednesday to visit the team, and he assured the team that they will definitely be going. And I know that since he's in charge of this sector, I know he will do everything to make sure that we get the money we need to go for this trip. The Ghana Hockey Association has been surviving on our own. Most of these girls have come from home voluntarily using their own pocket money. We have supported them in various ways. So it is basically our own support since they started training. You know, nowadays the approval stages, we go to the National Sports Authority, it goes to the Ministry of Sports, goes to the Flagstaff House, and it's been approved at the Flagstaff House. It's come back to the Ministry of Sports. They forwarded it to the Ministry of Finance for them to effect the orders to the Controller Accountant General for payment. So it was approved. In fact, it is approved so far as we are concerned. It is just maybe because of cash flow situations. The Ministry of Finance has not given a go-ahead for Controller to do the payments. So once that was done, in fact, with the visas, it's been, you know, the way the embassies operate. You cannot wait. If you wait, so we have used our own resources to make sure that we get the visas for these girls. And luckily, the travel agent has also gone ahead to get the tickets for us. So we are supposed to travel this afternoon.
Let's now take some stories from the continent and begin from Cameroon, because the FIFA has lifted its global ban on Cameroon after a normalization committee began its work on Monday to run the country's football federation. Now, it's being headed by former Minister of Education and Sports, Joseph Omona. Now, earlier this month, FIFA banned Cameroon for government interference into the running of football in the country, and by virtue of this, Cotton Sport would also get the opportunity to make its way back into the CAF Champions League. From Cameroon, we move on to Uganda, and it's also a story along those lines. FIFA has warned the Ugandan Football Association against government interference, which could lead to an international ban for the East African country. Now, while some commentators in Uganda have argued the FIFA ban will be a healthy development for the sport in the country, which has been riven by an internal division and rival leagues set up, the Ugandan Prime Minister Amama Mbabazi last week ordered Education and Sports Minister Jessica Lupo to consult FIFA on all actions that they may want to take with regards to football in Uganda. Now, players and officials of two clubs in Nigeria who were involved in some amazing football scorelines, 79-0 and 67-0, have been banned for life. Now, Plateau United Feeders were 79-0 victors over Akuba FC, while Police Machine demolished Bubayaro by 67 goals to 0. Now, the four clubs have been banned from the game for 10 years. A Nigerian Football Federation committee recommended that the match officials involved in the two matches should also be given live bans. Amazing things happening in African football. Let's look at some players now. We're looking at Papi Cisse. Now, what's the story on Papi Cisse? Now, the People says that Cisse is set to move to Russia after branding the club's Wonga shirt sponsorship as immoral. Now, Russian club Rubin Kazan are pleading for the chase for the Newcastle striker, who refused to go on the club's preseason tour to Portugal. Zenit St. Petersburg, Anzi Makashkala, Borussia Dortmund and several French clubs are also said to be keen on the player. From one player, we move on to another, and this time around, we are focusing on Nigerian player Peter Osaze Odemwingie. Now, the ex-president Star says that West Brom are sticking to their guns and demanding their full £2 million asking price for rebel striker Peter Odemwingie, with Al Nassr and Fulham interested in the player. Crystal Palace failed with a £1.75 million offer for the player last week. Again, we're looking at some African players, and this time around we're looking at Solomon Kalou. Now, West Ham United are moving for Lille attacker Solomon Kalou. The people say that they are lining up to £2.5 million for the Ivorian. The former Chelsea striker has emerged as the man the club would love to sign, but West Ham have also discovered he has a buyout clause in his contract, so would now step up their interest in the player. And later today, the rivalry between the two biggest clubs in Egypt would resume, as Zamalek and Al Ahly will be playing at the Red Sea Resort of El Guna at 2:30 GMT later this afternoon. Now, this will be the first meeting of the clubs at the mini league. The fifth meeting, at the mini league stage, with Ali winning and drawing last year. The same results produced 5 seasons ago. Let's move over to Europe now, and most of the big clubs are on some kind of pre-season preparations. We begin from the camp of Manchester United, who took on Yokohama Marinos in Japan yesterday. Some breathtaking synchronization skills, if you ask me. On that note, we draw the curtains on this today's edition of Sports Today. I'm sure you've enjoyed all the stories. I will look forward to coming your way yet again on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.